The frostbitten wind of Kepler 47c cut through the thin fabric of the human suit as he trudged across the alien tundra. Each step sank into the crystalline snow, reflecting the dim light of the twin suns above. Lieutenant Aric Vaughn adjusted his visor, scanning for movement. His mission was reconnaissance, a simple task of charting new territories for the United Terran Alliance, but nothing about this world had been simple. The planet was beautiful in a deadly way. Ice fields stretched endlessly, interrupted only by jagged mountains that looked like shattered glass, shimmering under the pale suns. It was silent, save for the occasional hiss of the wind. And yet, beneath that stillness, Aric felt an unshakable presence. Something was watching. He paused, adjusting the sensors on his arm-mounted scanner. That was when he saw her. A figure, barely visible against the frost, was slumped against a jagged spire of ice. She was humanoid, yet unlike anything Aric had ever seen. Her skin shimmered with a translucent blue sheen, like liquid crystal, and faint, bioluminescent lines traced patterns across her arms and neck. Her eyes were closed, her chest barely moving. Something was wrong. Aric's heart skipped. In all his years exploring hostile worlds, he had learned the first rule: help those who need help, no matter the risk. He approached cautiously, his boots crunching softly on the ice. "Hey," he called, his voice echoing strangely in the thin atmosphere. "Are you okay?" The figure didn't move. Aric knelt beside her, scanning her with his portable medical analyzer. The readout blinked ominously. Life signs minimal, movement impossible, neural paralysis suspected. "Paralyzed," he muttered. "She can't move." But something in her aura, if it could be called that, told him she wasn't gone. She was alive and conscious. He could feel it in the subtle rhythm of her breathing, in the faint flickers of the glowing lines on her skin. A warning light blinked on his scanner. Unknown life form detected. The readings were off the charts. Whoever or whatever she was not human. And yet, Aric felt a strange pull, an inexplicable connection. He couldn't leave her. Not here. Not like this. "I won't leave you," he said firmly, though the wind carried his words away. He gently lifted her into his arms. She was lighter than expected, almost ethereal, yet her weight pressed heavily against the human part of his mind that couldn't comprehend her nature. As he carried her toward his ship, a sudden tremor shook the ice beneath them. Jagged shards split, hissing vapors erupting into the frigid air. Aric stumbled but didn't let go. "Hang on," he whispered. The ground seemed to convulse violently, and from the cracks emerged creatures. Sleek, serpentine forms, iridescent and hostile, their multiple eyes gleaming with intelligence. They hissed in a language that made Aric's teeth ache. The scanners read hostile, apex predator. Instinct took over. Aric raised his pulse rifle, firing carefully, each shot embedding in the alien creature's shimmering scales. One hissed and fell back, but more surged from the ice fissures. He was surrounded, and his suit warned of incoming environmental hazards: sub-zero exposure, thin oxygen, electrical storms forming above. He pressed himself against the icy ground, shielding her. The creatures lunged. And then something impossible happened. The girl's eyes opened. Pale violet light emanated from them, washing over the ground, freezing the creatures mid-step. They screeched and writhed, but could not advance. It was as if time itself bent to her will, but she did not move otherwise. Her paralysis remained, yet her power was undeniable. Aric's jaw dropped. "You," he said, but she didn't respond. Not with words. Not with motion. Yet the energy radiating from her told him everything he needed to know. She wanted him to protect her, and in return, she could protect him. For hours, Aric held her as the storm worsened. The alien predators eventually retreated into the fissures, wary of the violet energy that seemed to permeate the ice. Exhaustion gripped him, yet he refused to rest. She was alive, and until he got her to safety, he would not leave her side. Finally, the outline of his ship shimmered through the blizzard. He carried her through the hull entryway, slamming the door against the storm. The warmth of the interior hit them both like a wave. Aric gently laid her on a med bed, initiating the ship's healing protocols. Aric began to understand the rhythms of her life, the cadence of her consciousness. He gave her a name, Liora. On the fourth day, the paralysis began to waver. Her fingers twitched slightly. Her eyes flickered with more than just the violet glow. They seemed to reflect understanding. She could move, just a little, if only he encouraged her. "You're doing it," he said softly. "I knew you could." It was then the storm broke. Through the viewport, he saw the alien tundra bathed in a pale, fragile light. The twin suns had emerged above the horizon, and with the light came a revelation. Liora was not just a stranded being. She was a guardian, a creature of immense power, her paralysis a defensive mechanism until she trusted someone. By the sixth day, she could move her arms and lift her head. By the seventh, she could sit. And through it all, Aric never left her side. He had refused to walk away, even when it seemed hopeless. And she had responded. When Liora finally stood on her own, the medbed lights glinting off her crystalline skin, Aric felt a surge of relief and awe. She extended a hand toward him, not for help, but as a gesture of trust. The twin suns shone brighter, reflecting in the icy plains outside. And for the first time, Aric realized the truth. Some bonds transcend language, species, and circumstance. Some connections are forged in silence, in unwavering commitment, in the simple choice not to walk away. Together, they stepped outside. The blizzard was gone. The predators were gone. And in the light of Kepler, 47c, human and alien walked side by side, one learning to trust, the other learning the meaning of loyalty. Aric didn't know what the future held. Perhaps Liora's kind had a place among the stars, or perhaps she would remain a mystery. But he did know this. He would never walk away. Not from her. Not from what he had learned about courage, connection, and the resilience of life in all its forms. And somewhere deep in the frozen heart of an alien world, a fragile, luminous smile flickered across her face, mirrored in the quiet pride of the human who had refused to abandon her. As the twin suns of Kepler, 47c climbed higher in the sky, their light fractured through the icy plains, casting prismatic reflections across the crystalline landscape. Aric stood beside Liora, the alien's luminescent form glowing faintly in the soft sunlight. She looked at him, her violet eyes no longer just a shimmer of energy. They now reflected understanding, gratitude, and something deeper, almost like trust. For the first time, she spoke, her voice a melodic resonance that vibrated in the air rather than through sound. "Thank you," she said, each word deliberate and fragile. Aric smiled, though his voice caught in his throat. "You don't have to thank me. I never would have left." A gentle wind swept across the tundra, carrying with it the scent of minerals and ice. The alien predators that had once lurked in the shadows were gone, driven away by Liora's own power, now released safely. The world felt quiet again, serene in a way that promised new beginnings. Then, with a subtle gesture, Liora extended her hand toward Aric. He took it, feeling a strange warmth radiate through him, a connection neither human nor alien could fully explain. It wasn't just trust, it was a bond forged in survival, patience, and unwavering courage. Aric looked out across the endless ice fields. Somewhere beyond the horizon were mysteries yet to uncover, worlds yet to explore. But he knew one thing with certainty. Whatever dangers lay ahead, he would never walk away from someone who needed him. Not now, not ever. And as Liora's bioluminescent lines shimmered in the sunlight, weaving patterns like a living tapestry of light, Aric felt the profound truth of the moment. Life, even in the most alien form, deserved compassion, courage, and loyalty. Together, human and alien turned toward the horizon, stepping forward side by side. The frozen world no longer seemed hostile, but alive, with possibilities, with hope, and with a bond that would endure far beyond the limits of space and time. And somewhere deep in the frozen heart of Kepler, 47c, a luminous smile flickered across Liora's face, mirrored by the quiet pride of the human who had refused to walk away.